favorite guy. I'm your man, Mr. Alton Henry, and today I'm going to talk to you about another film that I think is severely underrated that doesn't get too much attention. And holy shit, man. Too bad. I'm here to tell you to bring it back. Today's film, Domino, starring Keira Knightly, Mickey Rourke, Edgar Ramirez, and Christopher Walken. And it's basically a fictionalized, somewhat true story of the bounty hunter named Domino Harvey, who sadly passed right after this film came out. And I didn't see this in theaters, I don't think. I think my folks rented it and we watched it, and I thought it was one of the roughest movies I've watched at that time. And well, yeah, I got strong violence, graphic nudity, perverse language, and off the record, this is a very intense movie, and it's one of Tony Scott's intense. It's probably one of his most graphic and most, I wouldn't say satire, but his most extreme film that he's ever done. And the vision he had with this film was crazy phenomenal. And I think I think this and Man on Fire and Enemy of the State when is one of his better movies. I think this is one of his most experimental films. One where I think he gets too creative with the editing. And what I mean by that, like he approached the same style that he did with Man on Fire to this, but he takes it to like level 10. And to me, what I really loved about it, this is like the editing was so creative and extreme and just so out there for a true story action film that sells you on this person, Domino Harvey, played by the phenomenal Keira Knightley. And I'm gonna tell you right now, Keira Knightley was hot, but also amazing in this freaking film. She delivers a commanding action performance here. Like Intimidate, you don't want to mess with this character. Like she delivers this intense, like you don't want to f with me kind of attitude, where she feels kind of when she's on present, she commands this role, and I was just amazed by her performance. She was crazy good. Pirates of the Caribbean, nah, man, this film, she was amazing as Domino Harvey. Mickey Rourke was cool, and then also I think this is the first film I discovered Edgar Ramirez, who speaks I think mostly Spanish in this film, and he does it in his character he does it to kind of pick up checks, but here when he tries to do it with Domino Harvey's character, Keira Knightley's character Domino Harvey, which it doesn't really phase her, but there's a little attraction that kind of goes along there, and it's kind of cute, but it's kind of cute. It gets her to the point where she finds it annoying, but it gets there. It gets there. Eventually, the two do get together. But he was very great in here, and he's actually probably one of the craziest characters in the film. Where there's a sequence in there, and this is actually very intense, and I really love this opening. And I remember I was watching with my folks, where it's one of those movies where it starts at a certain scene that happens later in the film. Then once it hits to that like hook, like the film, like that moment, that opening is designed to hook you to get invested for the rest of the story. Then it flashes back to everything, how it all happened to where how the characters ended to where they are now. Then it continues forward, which I actually really like that storytelling. It really kind of gets you thinking in the moment of what is happening, how did these characters get here to happen in the film Haywire. But here, I think this film delivered one of the best intros to really hook you to deliver just pure intensity. Like I'll tell you right now, I think this is one of the best film openings to any film I've seen ever, and it gets you invested. And there's a moment where it happens in the movie where you see how crazy that this guy is, that well he did it. He blew it like I won't spoil that. I won't spoil it. Like that scene is gets intense. Also, what I noticed about this film, besides the great performances from everybody, that the film I think has a awareness for. Okay. Also, like the film tries to be a little bit, I guess, metaphorical, where they Tony Scott shows all these different imagery, um, with the goldfish, um, with certain religious imagery to certain sexual imagery to violence, and he's able to mash this all into one. And I think with the editing, I think this has to be one of the hardest films to edit because I don't know, like I don't know how many times I mentioned about the editing. The editing of this is crazy good, and it's creatively intense, and it might get annoying a little bit to some because it also reminds me a bit of Max Payne 3, where I could see some of that influence encourage the game Max Payne 3, where it feels a little bit psyche, where you're kind of dwelling into the character's mind and what their decisions are when they end at a certain moment, and we're trying to figure out what they're going to do. I also like that the movie plays around with certain scenarios of what if could have happened, or what if I've done this, what if I've done that. There's a moment in the film where there's a raid scene where it's literally one of the first missions Keira Knightly goes to as a bounty hunter, where she tries to figure out what's the best approach to get their target. And one of them was to just bust in, holding their weapons and possibly in a Mexican standoff, and ended up getting themselves killed in a shootout, which actually shows that what if sequence. It literally shows the what if sequence if that actually happened. Then that moment rewinds back, and Karen Alley's kind of thinking, you know what, if we end up literally shooting each other, we all could die, and we're basically outnumbered. Now here's the thing: the movie feels like there's two different stories going on, where it gets to the point of introducing Domino Harvey and introducing her world, which takes place like I think the first 45 minutes to close to the hour. Then the other side plot kind of dwells in where it deals with Monique's character, that her kid is basically dying of cancer, and she's trying to save enough money to get you know for her child to go through a procedure to for her to be healthy. And she does certain illegal activities that kind of intertwine with Domino Harvey's story, and it kind of gets into like a little mess where there's a lot of plot heavy that kind of goes on. I feel like it rushes it kind of towards the middle, but I do think it wraps up perfectly towards the end, and I like it that it still feels like a autobiographical film because you're still witnessing the events through Domino Harvey's character, and actually still, and I really like that. I really like that approach. All in all, I think this is one of Tony Scott's most underrated films, and respectfully, he's one of the most underrated filmmakers. I think when it comes to action film, he delivers great performances from a lot of his actors. This is a great intense action movie. I can't see why this film doesn't get enough attention. Like it baffles me. If you have seen Domino, let me know in the comment section below what you thought about it, if you liked it, and let me know what is your favorite underrated movie.